Welcome back to Keen Plays. Today I just wanted to dive back into this Frogger board game that I picked up from Dollarama and just show you guys how it is played, tell you what I think about it. It is a 2 to 4 player game. The whole goal of the game is to be the first one to cross the road or to cross the river. By being first, you will get the most amount of flies, and then the further along you get, you'll get more flies as well. The first one to cross the road and get to this position here will get 14 flies plus one of these silver flies. And then the further back you are, so if you're here, that would only be worth 6 points. Each space is worth 2, so you would get 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, or 12 points. And then the first one to make it here will get 14 points, kind of a bonus, and then also one of these silver flies. And those are just used for endgame scoring, just in case there's a tie. And then you all start in this position and you go across the river. Very much the same sort of scoring system. The only difference is that you want to jump onto these blank spaces on the road because you don't want to get hit by cars, obviously. And you want to jump on the turtles or the logs when you're on the river, or else you will jump into the river. It's very simple, but it's actually, a pretty decent game overall. This reference card kind of gives you the reference for road and for the river. And so this shows that you cannot jump onto these cars. You can have one frog on a space with a oil slick or puddle or something, and then you can have 2 frogs on a blank space. And then on the river, you cannot jump onto a crocodile or alligator, just a water drop or whatever. Can't jump onto that, and then a blank space you can't jump onto. You can have 1 frog on a turtle and 2 frogs on a log. Yeah. Then it says on your turn, you choose a tile, you place the tile, you push the tile, and then your optional actions are to jump the frog, do an extra jump, which will cost you a fly, and then if you don't jump at all, you earn a fly. And you also have these 3 cards. These are your power jumps. So you have the power leap, which is you can jump to a tile where there is at least one other frog and make a giant landing, which will send the other frogs flying to adjacent tiles you choose. Leapfrog, you leap over another frog, put your frog on the tile after the other frog. The move must be in a straight line, either forwards, back, or sideways, never diagonal. And the corner bounce, jump 1 space in one direction, then another space in a different direction, effectively making a diagonal jump, which the wording makes it sound like this is kind of a controversial one for me, just because if I'm here and I want to jump over to here, like I couldn't just play that by the wording. It sounds like I would have to jump here first and then there. Whereas like a legit diagonal jump would just be, all right, I'm safe. But otherwise, it kind of makes it seem like that move is not possible because I would have to jump there first and then there, or jump here and then there, And like these cards, they are a one-time use throughout the whole game. The game consists of going through the street and the river twice each. So you'll just go from the start of the board to the end of the board twice, and then whoever has the most flies wins the game. And since you only get to use these each once, I think that this one should be more more of an advantage than it is, or what it sounds like when you're reading, the extra wordy instructions instead of it just saying diagonal jump. Like this only shows diagonal, so I don't know. However you want to play it, we usually play where it is just a straight up diagonal jump. Don't worry about, jumping one space forward and then left or right, or yeah. On your turn, you will pick up one of these tiles, and then on these arrows, that is where you would push it in. So I could push it in here and then take my turn. Or, in this case, I would probably push it in here, since we would be starting here, and then I would take my additional or my optional jump, and then I'd probably pay an extra fly, and then I would jump again. On the next person's turn, they probably wouldn't slide this one here because then they're giving you a free lane, or maybe they would, and then they would leapfrog you, or, there is a little bit of messing one another up, which is, definitely nice to have that in this sort of game where it needs a little bit of a competitive edge to it, or else it's kind of just not that great of a game. I believe you start with 5 flies, so that's where you would be able to pay for extra jumps. And yeah, you just go through it twice, and at the end of the game, you count up whoever has the most flies wins. If there's a tie, then whoever has the most of these silver flies wins. And if you manage to not use all of your power jumps, then you would just flip them over, and each one that you didn't use is worth a silver fly. And that's really all there is to it. It's a very simple game. One thing is that you have to push all of these over and cover up these gray spaces here. They all have to be covered before you can slide another one in on that section. So there's a little bit of rules to it. And then once they are all covered, then you just take those end ones off and reuse them until someone has made it to this space here. Yeah, it's a very, very simple game. I really wasn't sure what to expect when I picked it up. I don't have, a whole lot of experience with Frogger. It's a little bit before my time, but I am aware of the concept. You're a frog crossing the street or crossing a river, try and get to the other side. Like it's, I do understand it. I did play the game on one of those game sticks that I bought, and yeah, it's simple. But as a board game, I wasn't really sure how they would manage to make it into a board game and make it a good one. So when I picked it up, I was actually kind of assuming that this was going to be a bit rough and not that good. But surprisingly, I think that they did a pretty good job with it. Like, I don't know what this would have retailed at when it first came out. Yeah, I don't know. I might have to look it up and just see what it originally costed, because it probably wouldn't be worth that. but for a $5 board game from Dollarama, I think it is actually really good. And that's where, the rating scale kind of gets skewed a bit, because just as a board game in general, like it's not that great. It's probably like a 5 or a 6, because it's kind of just a filler game, but it's kind of fun, kind of nostalgic. So, it might be like a 6. But then for it being $5, it's kind of a neat thing to have in your collection. So I'd probably, give it a hard 6. It's not like, it's better than average. I have played this game a few times, and I do enjoy it. It's, it's got a little bit of a competitiveness to it, and it's got a pretty good concept of how to do the movement and the cars driving and the river rushing. It is pretty cool how they did that, and there's a little bit of strategy to it. It's definitely worth a $5 pickup, I'd say. Let me know what you think, though. In the meantime, feel free to leave a like or comment. Subscribing, that would be awesome. Thank you so much for watching. See you later.